I'm Lance Phillips. Today, our thoughts are with our viewers and all residents of Florida as they deal with the aftermath of Hurricane Irma. Stay safe.
I'm Josh Ryan, and what he said.
So
what else can I add to that? Yeah.
What else can you say, really?
It's a crazy situation.
I mean, we have viewers down in the Sunshine State, and
which is also crazy.
Which is amazing. But it's they're going through a struggle right now. I mean, Houston's gone through it. They're going through it as well. And obviously our thoughts and prayers are with them. Thanks for watching. The Gloves Are Off. Lance Phillips, Josh Ryan with you. Another evening of Tuesday night sports.
Yes.
Got some local stuff. There's a pretty big game coming up this Friday.
I think pretty big is a large understatement.
Yeah, I feel like it's probably the most anticipated game, maybe of the year.
It might be the most anticipated first game of the year in Wheatland football that we've seen in a couple of years.
Possibly. What surprised you in opening week of NFL action?
I expected the Seahawks to be a lot better, considering all the hype that was coming into this season about this is the next Super Bowl for them. They weren't so good the first night.
I think what surprised me is the fact that Chuck Pagano of the Colts credited the 49ers with a win over his team when it was actually the Rams.
I'm not surprised by that.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, but Chuck Pagano says stuff like that all the time.
Imagine the stuff going on in your brain to make that kind of an error. Thought the 49ers were really great tonight.
Chuck Pagano does have a large noggin, so there's probably a few things going on inside.
He's gone through some tough times too. Let's get started on the local front. Lloydminster, Comp, Barons, Holy Rosary Raiders. It gets underway this Friday, September 15th, and this place is going to be rocking at Armstrong Field, Josh. There's going to be fans out. There's going to be some great plays made. It's the start of Wheatland football. Which of these two teams is going to come out on top?
Okay, now let me preface my prediction by saying
here we go.
I don't get any of these right, but I'm still going to say that the Barons are going to win this game. I know they've lost the rivalry in the last couple of years, but they have more continuity amongst veterans. They have multiple weapons on offense, Nathan Zacharias, Danon Slychuk. They have an underrated defense, and they have the best QB in the league.
Interesting you mentioned underrated defense, because that defense, while underrated to some degree, is susceptible to the long ball. We saw that against North Battleford. They had a few plays where they couldn't catch up to guys on deep routes. I agree with you in this case. I believe that this is the Barons' game to lose, even before it starts. But if Holy Rosary can take advantage of some of those defensive lapses that they have, I mean, Aaron Harper, the head coach who we're going to have later on in the show, made the point of saying, we have a lot of work to do. And they do have a lot of work to do. On the Holy Rosary side, though, their quarterback situation is semi-dicey. Dante Tabacu is a starting QB. He's a grade 11 student, but he's got a ton of talent, but he doesn't have experience, and Garrett Musgrave does. And in any league, the quarterback is the foundation of a football team. If your quarterback can't make plays, you're going to struggle to win games.
Absolutely. And Musgrave's ability to make plays is improved this week because their exhibition game was canceled.
It's incredible.
Because their exhibition game canceled last week, he got another week to rest a small injury that's been nagging him. And he's such a good running quarterback as well as using his arm that extra week of rest, I think, could make a big difference, especially against this defense.
It gives them 3 running backs. And not just 3 mediocre ones. Matthew Morin, who's a grade 10 student, is unbelievable. Okay, he's unbelievable for what he is. Nathan Zacharias, another fantastic back. And Musgrave gives them 3 legit threats on the ground. And not to mention that Musgrave can throw the ball like he's got a cannon of an arm, and he can run fast.
And not to mention they do have a pretty good backup QB as well.
You're not kidding. Anton Amandrew, who showed his stuff during Red Dogs this past season. But I think the Barons, it's their game to lose.
Another big game coming up this weekend is, of course, a budding hockey rivalry. PONTIACS Bobcats coming up on Friday. The Bobcats so far have taken the best of the rivalry in exhibition, winning 3 of 4, including a pair of overtime games. But at this point in the season, who do you think is actually the better team?
The Pontiacs are the better team.
Straight up, eh?
Straight up the better team. This is very fascinating to me, though, because it's been excellent to watch these two teams battle throughout this exhibition schedule. They've had 4 games against each other. And what's cool about it is that these new kids have already formed more of a rivalry than has already existed between the two. But I still give the notch to the Pontiacs. Their top 3 players are still better than the Bobcats' top 3 players. I believe their goaltending with Sandro Sylvester is going to be better than the Bobcats' goaltending. They do not have Austin McGrath this year.
Who was the team last year?
He essentially was. But I give it to the Pontiacs. Their big laps is on the defensive side.
Which I think will be what really decides whether they're successful or not in this early portion of the season. I still am looking forward to just seeing the game first to make a full statement on who's better, who's not, because obviously injuries could reoccur for some guys, and maybe some guys step up to the pressure when it actually hits. especially with the Bobcats. They're essentially going to run a two-line system again. Those top two lines need to be very productive for them.
That's their power. And if those lines aren't productive, I see this team struggling again this year.
Yeah.
And as we mentioned, the main difference is they don't have Austin McGrath in goal. They have to produce, and they have to be good defensively, because last year they struggled mightily defensively. They have Daniel Hilsendagger back this year, who was phenomenal as a 16-year-old last year. He's excellent. But beyond that, it's a bunch of new kids. Evan Wood is back, but it's still a bunch of new kids. One kid in particular stood out in their last appearance, and that was I lost his name off the top of my head now. Anyways, Rob Raju, who was fantastic. He was probably one of the best players on the ice as a newbie for the Bobcats. I still would like to see what he can do against a full AJHL roster, but
and that's the key part of there, because that AJHL roster they played in the last game was not the starting unit the Pontiacs rather will have this coming weekend.
Moving on to the CFL, Mike Riley was pulled in the third quarter of the Edmonton Eskimos' 25-22 loss to the Calgary Stampeders because a concussion spotter thought he had a concussion, when in fact he didn't. Josh Ryan, did that concussion spotter jump a little too quick on that call?
It's hard to say with this current climate of football and concussions and CTE. Ultimately, if you want to err in one direction, you should err on safety. Now I know it's a 4-point difference. If they had gotten a touchdown, that's the game. But at the same time, Riley
it wasn't quite. There was still a quarter to go.
Exactly,
Let's
and Riley could have stayed in and thrown an interception, and they don't score. They don't even get the field goal, and then the momentum completely changes anyway. So while
momentum's not a real thing, you know that. Right?
We've disagreed on that. Sure, it sucks for the Eskimos for this week, but I think ultimately, especially with such a tense climate with concussions in football, you got to err on the side of safety.
You cannot not err on the side of safety. Yeah. You absolutely have to. I know it's a semi-critical time in the game. They're at the 11-yard line after the pass that Riley made, and they pulled him out. He has to stay out for 3 plays. The thing that's a little mind-boggling to me is he only had to stay out for 3 plays, but he stayed out for 4. And Jason Moss was making the point post-game that, listen, if our doctors on the sidelines can evaluate him in 2 plays, why can't he get back in there before 3 plays? Why does he have to wait 3 plays? Well, he waited 4. So why did he wait the 4th? The bottom line is 1 play is not going to make a game. Yeah, they would have been up by 4, but there's still, like I said, a quarter and a half almost to go, more than that even, to go in the game. And you have to err on the side of safety here. Did you see the hit? I mean, it was a helmet-to-helmet hit. He hit him under the chin, and Riley didn't get up as fast as I think a concussion spotter would have liked to have seen him get up.
And that's the main thing. When you guys see a guy struggling to get up.
But he didn't struggle. What he did was he stopped and looked at the official like, where's the penalty flag? And that's the other thing. They're saying, if there's no penalty flag called, why is a concussion spotter making?
But for the spotter, they maybe don't see that look, and they see that as a struggle.
It doesn't matter. The penalty flag is on penalties. It has nothing to do with whether the official thinks he has a concussion.
No. What I'm saying is that if he sees him not come up immediately, maybe he makes the assumption that is struggling in fact to get up. So he doesn't see the view you would have.
Entirely possible.
Entirely possible. We're going to switch though to another football league, the NFL, where they had their first week this past weekend, and the main storyline coming out of it has nothing to do with the field. Despite some surprising results, it's still on players sitting, as they have been doing throughout the exhibition season, which has been heightened, rather, by the Michael Bennett situation out in Las Vegas. Do you think this is going to be the dominant storyline the rest of the season, and should it be the dominant storyline?
That's a 2-part question. That's a reporter faux pas. You shouldn't do that kind of thing, Josh.
Well,
you know that. You know that, right?
I did it anyway.
Okay, in answer to your first question, yes, I believe it will be a dominant storyline. In answer to your second, yes, it should be a dominant storyline. Listen, whether or not this thing that happened to Michael Bennett, allegedly, in Vegas is true or not, if it's true, especially if it's true, that's absolutely reason for players to kneel. I mean, you can't allow this kind of stuff to go on. And the fact that these players are standing up for what they believe is right, I don't have a problem with that. And if it is what they're standing up for, for what they're standing up for, if it's not happening and they believe there's a problem there and there is a problem there, then let's fix the problem. These guys are trying to show people that, look, there's an issue here that we need to have fixed.
Absolutely. And I think you have to look at it too. Look at the political climate of the United States right now.
It's a tinderbox.
And you've never had athletes take such a strong political stance, or so many athletes take such political stances. Maybe it doesn't have the significance of the civil rights era guys like Bill Russell, or the Vietnam era like Muhammad Ali, but it's the most we've seen of athletes taking a political or racial stance in front of the public and making it known. And now that it's on social media, it's spread further. So automatically, this has to be covered as a story. You're not doing your job as a sports reporter if you don't cover it.
Well, listen, the treatment of people and human rights take precedence over anything sport related, any game, any match, any sport. I don't care what it is. That kind of stuff is paramount. It transcends sport. And the fact that what happened to Michael Bennett in Las Vegas, again, if it's true, is an absolute travesty. And now the LVPD is backpedaling, asking the NFL to intervene and investigate. Give me a break. It's not the NFL's job to investigate something that went on with the police. Yeah. It's not their job.
Yeah, it's just as the abuse situation is the same thing. They really overreach in that space.
Moving to the MLS, Toronto FC is into the playoffs for the third round, but we are not going to talk playoffs. We're more interested in the fan environment that takes place at BMO Field, more specifically as it pertains to the CFL. Josh, you've seen TFC games. You see what kind of mayhem goes on in the south end zone. Should the CFL be utilizing this as a model to create that sort of environment in their buildings? And not even the CFL, just teams in general.
I think should. I don't know necessarily say should. I think looking into doing something similar is the correct answer, but I don't know about should. We've seen it with the Argos. They're trying to do something similar, and it's had not quite the effect they wanted. Many fans not enjoying the view they get, and they're expecting
because they're sitting in a fan zone. Like when you go to buy tickets and it says fan zone, do you not in your mind think maybe this is not the best place to get a perfect view?
Yeah, but people only look at social media for their news now, so they're not going to look at a sign.
No, what they're looking at are the cheapest ticket prices in the building. That's what they're looking at. And they don't understand that this is an area where the Argonauts are trying to foster an area where fans can go in and wave their flags and carry on. Beyond that, CFL teams absolutely need to make a model out of what TFC is doing and try and incorporate it into the buildings. Can you imagine if those TFC crowds were in Calgary or Edmonton?
Those crowds are, though, in Saskatchewan.
To some degree,
that is the big example of a great atmosphere everywhere in the building every week. And largely it is because, of course, the Riders are the ticket in Saskatchewan. They don't have professional hockey or professional basketball, that kind of thing. But I agree that you can take some kind of part of that model and just use it as a way to just get more fan support, more fan involvement. And then maybe when your team is successful, the league continues to grow, it becomes something similar.
Dude, signs, and I don't mean signs. I mean like giant signs on poles, flares, smoke. It's a hostile environment for other teams to go and play in. Now, the bad side of that is there are groups for the TFC like the Inebriati who are crossing the line. They're vulgar. They're doing things that obviously people don't want to see at games. That's the bad side. Yeah. But there's a lot of good that can come of that, and I think CFL teams really should try and model themselves after that.
I can't disagree with that. And we'll see if we disagree on this. The NHL released their Declaration of Principles earlier in the week. One of the undercurrents of it was making hockey for everyone, increasing the fan base player pool, as well as raising the NHL draft age and a few other items. It's been met with some skepticism from some people that it doesn't actually do anything for the league, and it is essentially a load of PR fluff.
It doesn't do anything.
Do you agree with that?
This is hard, man. This is really tough. At first blush, it seems like a bit of PR fluff. Yeah. At first blush, it seems that way. I mean, here's the headline, but is there any substance to it? Are we going to back up this stuff we do? We have a new segment coming up, and we've got a letter, I believe, from someone who's
I'm looking forward to this
about
letter.
it. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. But anyways, I kind of, like I said, I think it is a bit of fluff. Yeah. Unfortunately, it's not something we can see in the short term. It's going to take a long period of time before we see whether these principles are actually working or not. And I don't know how they're going to judge it. Frankly, it's not like they're tangible, measurable things we have here.
And that's why I think the struggle will be is how can you measure that within your player pool and within parents in the minor hockey system and so forth. It's really hard to just make people behave better without
really hard. It's not a measurable thing. You can't measure it. So, you could essentially say like, they could be like Trump and say, well, this is the largest crowd ever. Well, there's no way to measure that kind of stuff, right? So is it or isn't it? It's the same thing here. It's working. Is it? Where are the measurements? Where are the numbers to show that it is? You can't make it that way.
It's essentially a nice thing to say and principles that I think in general most people would agree with.
The timing's good. The timing's real good for the NHL. The NFL has problems with players and domestic violence. The NBA has problems with players. The NHL suddenly comes out with this new beautiful declaration of principles.
While debuting the first team in Vegas.
Yeah. Is that a coincidence?
I wonder. I think that's something they're really going to have to market out the crap out of this season, because Vegas could be a gold mine for them.
Or a gong show for them is what it could be.
And a gold mine at the same time.
It's bound to be more of a gold mine than a gong show, but it still could be
both.
A bit of a gong show. You know what else is a gong show?
Well, the Twitter bird.
Albert is a gong show.
Always.
And he's coming up next for sure.
We're back, and the gloves are still off.
Albert joins us straight off a bender at one of the local bars in town.
Is that just a weekly occurrence?
No,
though?
it's daily. Daily.
I wouldn't call it a bender at this point.
No, it's just a typical drunk bird. You're away.
I'll start us off. Speaking of drunk bird, only a drunk bird could have thought this up.
That is
Insane wildfire photo perfectly sums up America in 2017. That's from @Mashable.
Okay,
And,
here's the thing.
That is an amazing
Is that
photograph.
photo scarier to you than the one with the guy cutting his lawn with the tornado behind him? Which one's scarier?
To be honest, this
That's
one's scary.
terrifying.
Flames.
That is absolutely terrifying.
Because like the tornado, as intimidating as that would be, is just one tornado.
How do you putt?
That's a horizon.
How do you putt? How do you line up that putt and sink it with an absolute wildfire going on behind you?
The guy's got ice water in his veins. He's great under pressure.
You've got mail.
Boiling soon if he's not careful. That's unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
All right, Chris King. King or Chris, I'm sure that a
King.
few of our viewers would be familiar with who Chris King is.
After what, last week especially.
Yeah, what a show. After 7 practices at WBB Rustlers, that's the Rustlers women's basketball team, had an awesome weekend hiking and bonding in Jasper. #ain't as tough as Whistlers. I don't know what that means. Back at it tomorrow. What does that hashtag mean?
I don't know either. It's Kinger, though. It sometimes just says stuff. It's good to see that the girls are bonding so quick, and I wasn't surprised at just how tall some of the girls actually. I didn't realize how tall some of the newcomers are.
Listen, they've got some newcomers, but that's going to be an exciting team to watch. I believe that is going to be a fun team to watch this season.
Yeah. And who knows, maybe there's a small sliver of possibility Tori Dugan makes it into the season.
No
appearance.
chance.
I'd love to see
but
it, though.
she's going to push for it. You can be rest assured.
This next one's from TSN's at Brian Mudrick. Rare action shot of Russ Howard finding out he's picking up the dinner tab. It's
amazing.
It's a pretty great shot.
Amazing is what it is.
And I mean, that's usually would be my face if I found out I was picking up the dinner tab too.
Imagine like the anguish on his face. Imagine the shot. Like, what does that shot look like?
It must have been a big shot.
Hey, there's mail.
Yeah, it was a huge miss.
Huge miss.
Huge. It was a huge miss. Okay, this is incredible. This is MSU football at Hale State FB. 3rd and 93 upcoming. This was unbelievable. So Louisiana Tech was on Mississippi State's 7-yard line.
Right.
And Mississippi State forced a fumble that went all the way back to Louisiana Tech's 7-yard line. Have you ever heard of a third and anything above 25?
I've never, ever heard of that. I think, you know what? I think in a movie, I've seen something similar.
3rd and 93.
It was a movie scene. That was like a scene out of The Replacements.
Dude, if they had scored on that play, if they had scored on 3rd and 93, the internet would have broken.
Well, it would have won Best Play of the Year at the ESPYs. It would have crushed everything.
The internet would have broken.
Yeah. The internet should break when they see this video from at Division 6 Bound, one of my favorites. His ankles.
I don't know what's funnier about this. Like the fact that the guy is like, I have a Jack Russell Terrier, right? So I always got to kick it to the Jack, like chasing big dogs, right? Because the big dogs have long legs, and she just, motor. And this guy, like, because he's got short legs, he's fast. That dude
really
is fast.
Good footwork.
But
the guy he dribbles around does not have good footwork.
And I don't know what the funnier, the fact that his little legs are going like a mile a minute, or the fact that dude.
Ankles breaking. Ankles are always breaking.
Hey, there's mail.
At all times.
Take it easy, Albert. Take it easy. Jackie Bender at Jackie Bender 00. This is, of course, the Lakeland Rustlers cross-country coach. Perfect day for our first meet. So you see there the jolly old team of Lakeland College cross-country. You ever run when you were young?
I did, in fact. I ran cross-country.
No, I don't mean
2
from
years.
the cops. Did you?
Oh, well, not including the cops, I also ran cross-country in high school.
Oh, okay.
And I was pushed to go into cross-country in college, but I decided
Hey, there's mail.
I found it a little boring.
It was tough.
Yeah.
In Ontario, we had the cross country. One of the toughest cross country meets was up the Niagara Escarpment.
Oh,
yeah, that was
fun,
grueling.
yeah.
It was not fun. It's one of the days in my life that
I would have found it regularly. From So Silent Gibby, big news for the Athletic. Hurricane Irma. Why I'm joining the Athletic. Irma has been a monster this year.
Do you subscribe to the Athletic?
I do not.
Listen, the Athletic is awesome, compelling writing. It's got some great writing in it, and it's expanding across Canada. We're seeing it pop up in Montreal. Of course, it started in Toronto in Canada. It's been in the U.S. for a little while, but they're expanding their coverage. Really good stuff, and it's really inexpensive, and it's a startup, which I like.
And I like that they're doing the subscription model and trying to find a new way for journalism to stay profitable, because it's
like
obviously dying.
$60 a year. It's great, and like I said, the stuff is good. Listen, if you're going to pull tweets, can you just not pull them all over the place?
What are you, a little too sore to reach an extra 3 inches?
It's because I'm too chunky. Penn State football at Penn State F-ball. Penn State's offense has put up 35-plus points in 8 straight games. That's the longest active streak among Power 5 teams. That guy in the picture is Saquon Barkley, if you don't know who he is, possibly the best college running back right now.
You've got
Penn State
mail.
chance of
Penn State,
Penn
State. First of all, Penn State's being robbed. Okay, they started in the AP coaches poll in number 4, and this week they dropped down to 6, and they won. Like, how do you drop when you're winning? I don't understand. Clemson passed them up, and I forget who the other team was that passed them up. Like, it doesn't matter. At the end of the season, Penn State is going to be Big Ten champions again, and they will be battling for a national championship. They are that good a team this year.
I think rankings is something that everyone finds a way to screw up. Even in Canada, we've
and
had
I'm
problems with
hot
rankings.
taking it here, but Saquon Barkley's going to win the Heisman as well.
Ooh.
He's incredible. He's
Lance is
legit
bringing it with the hot takes today. At Yahoo Sports, this isn't a hot take, but it's other things. We handed out high school superlatives for NFL stars. That's from at Yahoo Sports. So you can see class clown, Roger Goodell. That makes sense. Most likely to succeed, Aaron Rodgers.
Looks like a thing of Saved by the Bell.
Yeah, it looks like 90s fashion. I think Party Animal Ron Browkowski is the best one.
Have you ever watched his party videos?
Oh, I've watched
Guy's
some.
amazing.
I watched his yacht cruise was incredible.
So my stepmother, his daughter knows him or knows his family or something along those lines, and he is a party animal. He's nuts. We got time for one more.
He's a good dancer, too.
SI Tennis at SI Tennis. Is Sloane Stephens motivated to win more slams? Quote, "Of course, girl. Did you see that check that lady handed me?" It's amazing.
She had a number of great quotes in that press conference. That one was the best one. That was hilarious.
Yeah, stick around. More Gloves Are Off coming up next. And what are we doing? Fake letters.
If you can't score, you might as well drop the gloves.
You been scoring lately?
Not in basketball, I wasn't.
That's a no.
Might
Josh
have a minor
doesn't score.
might have a minor concussion after Sunday
From scoring?
from running to a guy's shoulder.
Over the head. Over the head. All right, this is our format. This is our part of the show, actually, where we decided that we were going to take on letters from viewers.
Yes.
We believe that most of them are real, but we're not 100% sure.
Not 100% sure. One, in fact, mind if I start?
No, I don't actually.
Okay, this first one is, he didn't leave his name, it just says from Roger Goodell's lawyer. Hello, Roger. I wanted to express my concern after your recent appearance via the media. I understand you have a very difficult job with so many old white billionaires who are harder to please than toddlers who have grown tired of their new shiny rattle. However, I suggest you take up the strategy in which we previously engaged in over the past couple of years, which is not to show your face, ever. As the commissioner of the National Football League, uttering the phrase, "I'm not a football expert," is an ill-advised answer to a question on Colin Kaepernick being blackballed. While it's true that every excuse we've given has only resulted in more scrutiny, the soundbite of you saying, "I'm not a football expert," isn't playing well with the media or the viewers. My advice is to focus on our contingency plan instead, which is framing Bill Belichick for the same I watch cheatery that the Red Sox used. Sincerely, your lawyer.
I feel like the letters I got were a little more, maybe some of them were poignant, but I'm not sure if they're as poignant as that one. That was pretty interesting. His lawyer's got a lot to say there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of his advisors would have a lot to say. It's hard to be the commissioner of the NFL
Can you
and
imagine
say,
saying I'm not a football expert? Mind you, that being said, is Gary Bettman a hockey expert or is he a business expert?
He is a business expert.
And that's what these commissioners.
That's true.
These commissioners are designed to. They're in place to be business experts for the owners of these teams.
True.
So is he a football expert? I don't. Clearly not.
If he's a business expert, he should know not to say, "I'm not a football expert."
No, for sure.
On
for
live
sure.
television,
for sure.
radio, etc.
Yeah. That's like me saying I'm not a sports reporter. I'm not, but I mean, that's besides the point.
What do you have next?
All right. So this letter here, dear Mr. Bettman, thank you for making the Declaration of Principles a thing. Hockey's really important to me, and I love playing with my novice teammates. I'm hoping that the Declaration will make people like my mom and dad realize they're yelling and screaming at officials and other teams isn't cool and makes them look crazy. Some days I try to walk home from the rink because I don't want to be seen with them. Sincerely, Johnny in Vancouver. It's true.
Yeah.
What do you say? How many times have you been at the rink and you see psychotic hockey parents going nuts in the stands about a penalty that was called or about the fact that their kid wasn't played on the ice at the right time? All the time.
The fact that I can't count on one hand the number of times a dad has gone over the boards to talk to an official in the middle of a peewee hockey game is kind of astounding.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Is the Declaration of Principles going to help that situation?
I don't think
Not
so.
a chance.
Probably not.
Not a chance.
Probably not. Now, this is a letter we actually intercepted. It's from the management at MLSC, so Maple Leaf Sports
New Cap
Entertainment.
Intelligence.
Yes, and this was addressed to Masai Ujiri. So, hello Masai, just wanted to congratulate you on all the work you've done this summer, including Giants of Africa. That was a win-win. However, we have an issue. People in our boardroom really want us to sign Vince Carter. Now, I know you've expressed he doesn't really have a roster spot as Norman Powell is developing fast, BJ Miles is going to be great off the bench, and there's that Brazilian guy that only you still think will be any good, which is fine, because we believe in you, Masai. But people really want this guy, and it's just an interesting story, could generate a lot of buzz for us. So, what we decided is you can say, we're going to make Vince Carter come home. That doesn't have to mean anything. You don't have to say anything for the next couple of weeks, but that'll generate just enough fan interest that it'll get him off our back for the next 3 weeks. P.S. Are you sure the Brazilian kid is still good? MLSE.
MLSE.
They didn't want to put their name on it.
MLSE.
I guess, so, yeah.
MLSE wrote that letter.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. The entirety of MLSE wrote that one letter.
Wrote that one to their own employee.
Yes.
Okay, that's fascinating. Vince Carter.
It's a group effort.
What's with coming home? What does home mean? He's not from Toronto. Yeah, he played here for a bit of time.
But he does mean a lot to that community, and I see why some people are connected to it. I mean, really, like DeMar DeRozan, even a guy like Andrew Wiggins, he got into basketball through Vince Carter. Not through LeBron James, not through Michael Jordan.
I'm not disputing that fact at all. Yeah. I believe that basketball is such a big thing in Canada because of what Vince Carter did in Toronto. I believe that. I don't know why people keep saying he's coming home. That doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's why everyone is enjoying that Masai Ujiri comment. This letter maybe explains why he made that comment.
Fair enough. Dear NFL owners, did you watch any games this weekend? Any at all? Some of your starting quarterbacks are hot garbage and you need a new one. Quit being such fools and sign Colin Kaepernick. You're sacrificing wins because of your nonsensical patriotism. Sincerely, Billy Ray in Louisiana. Which is incredible. He's right though.
Yeah.
Did you see some of those guys playing on the weekend?
I did not get to see a lot of it.
Well, you didn't miss anything. There was some bad quarterback play. The fact that Colin Kaepernick is still without a contract and not playing in this league is insane.
And Blake Bortles is. That's a little crazy.
Well, listen, Jacksonville won, and Jacksonville didn't win because Blake Bortles was good. Because Blake Bortles is not good. They run because of their running back was impressive. Impressive to say the least. Yeah. That's the reason they're winning games. Now, sign Colin Kaepernick. Just do it.
My next letter is a little long. Do you want to go first, just in case?
Oh, my word.
Just saying.
The show's going to be over. We got a minute, so we're going to have to...
Yeah, you're going to have to go with yours. Mine takes more than a minute.
This one's real quick.
Okay, good.
Dear Roger, I'm coming for your record. From RN, currently in New York. I'm not sure what that's all about.
That was a great weekend of tennis, despite so many guys not in place.
You know, I've seen people that've been tweeting out, like, now that certain events in tennis are over, people can stop pretending like they care. Look, I don't pretend to watch tennis regularly, but some of these events have been absolutely amazing. And more people should be watching tennis. It's fantastic.
It's a fun sport to watch.
It is fun, and it's very compelling stuff.
Yeah, and it's especially, we're in such a golden age of men's tennis. Women's are kind of in a transition as Serena Williams starts to edge out who's going to be the next great player. Men, we're still in a golden age that's been lasting almost 15 years. And we should enjoy it while it's still here with Djokovic, Nadal,
and it's
Murray,
fascinating.
Federer.
It's fascinating to me that we are seeing guys like Federer and Nadal do what they're doing at their age, coming off injuries, I mean, these guys are 2 of the top 3 players in the world. It's
all
incredible.
time.
Of all time, even.
all
Yeah,
time.
absolutely incredible.
If you can't score, you might as well drop the gloves.
Hey, sports fans. Sure, people in Lloydminster recognize this guy, Mr. Ryan. Aaron Harper, good to have you, my man.
Awesome.
Good to see you.
Good to have you in
I feel like I've
studio.
seen
Nice
you
to meet
enough in the last week or so.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, thanks for coming in.
Awesome.
Listen, let's talk comp football. Exciting season ahead. How do you feel about where this team is at right now compared to where some of your teams were at seasons ago?
Yeah, I think this team right now is ahead of where we've been in the past, which is nice. Probably also the most potential a team has had from the teams that I've been here. So this is my 4th year as a head coach. And this team, yeah, this sky really is the limit with these guys. And we're okay right now, but we have a lot of work to do, and I think we can be pretty good. So pretty exciting.
Is having so many veterans coming back a big reason why you have high hopes for this year?
Yeah. So we have a good group of a really good group of grade 10s, a few solid grade 11s, and then our grade 9 group is good too. So we're getting leadership all the way across the board. Our grade 9s are bringing good leadership. Our grade 10s are our grade 10s are bringing good leadership. Our grade 11s are bringing good leadership, and then the guys who have been around for a while, they're doing a good job too. So like I always say, leadership isn't a number. It's not about what grade you're in. It's not about how old you are. You can be a leader in grade 10, no problem. So, yeah, all 3 groups have been really good.
It's really fascinating to me, being out at these practices and seeing guys, and one guy in particular, Garrett Hatchard, who really stands out. He's a grade 11. Like, that's incredible to me that this kid has a 25-year-old body, basically, as a grade 11. And you have him for basically 2 seasons. I mean, what does he do for your program out there on the defensive side?
Yeah, he's a pretty special player. He's also a great teammate, great kid to coach. We recognized him when he was probably in grade 6 or grade 7 as a kid that was going to be a big-time talent for us. Yeah, he makes life so much easier on defense, when we try to say, do your job, trust the guy beside you, but when someone does make a mistake on the field, someone misses a gap or someone misses a tackle, it's nice to know there's a guy that's the biggest, strongest, fastest guy on the field, and he's going to chase that play down and make the play, even if someone is out of position or does make a mistake. So he's a really nice safety blanket to have out there, and he's a good leader, and he knows where to be, when to be there. So nice guy to have out there. That being said, yeah, there's a couple other guys on that defense that are pretty special too.
Yeah, you got a young but really talented group. Is that going to surprise a lot of people, your defense?
Yeah, I think our defense was kind of the unknown. I think everyone thought our offense was going to be pretty good to get going.
Which it is.
And it is. That's right. Yeah, when we're clicking, we're pretty good. But our defense was kind of the unknown. There's a couple huge spots that we had to fill throughout the offseason, and I think the guys have put in the work and have kind of stepped up there. So there's still every single day there's position battles. We don't know who's going to start at a couple spots this week or at the end of the season, but it's nice going to practice every single day and knowing that, if this guy has a really good day, then he's going to get a chance to play. And if this guy doesn't have a good day, well, he might lose his chance to play. So the competition's been really good for our squad, and they're battling it out every single day, which is nice.
You and I talked at your game against the Battlefords there at Armstrong Field about, I totally just lost my train of thought with your quarterback.
Garrett,
thank you. That's embarrassing. Right? With Garrett's running style.
Yeah.
And like, what is it like for you? I know I asked you this before, but just explain it again. What it's like to be as a coach, sitting on the sidelines, watching Musgrave run the ball, knowing he's not going to slide. He's going to try and run through guys.
That's what we love about him. It's another dynamic of having an athletic quarterback that, yes, he might take a hit, and there's a possibility he'll get hurt. But on the other side of that, when your quarterback takes the ball and runs over somebody, that's a pretty cool feeling for the entire team, right? You know that guy, he's not going to slide, he's not going to step out of bounds, he's going to lay his body on the line. So that's a pretty cool thing. He's an exceptional athlete. He's a high level skier, high level track athlete. So and he does everything 100 miles an hour. So I would never tell him to slow it down. I would never tell him to take the foot off the gas. You just let him go out there and do his thing, and you hope that someone doesn't get lucky and knock him out. The other thing is we have a fantastic backup quarterback, a fantastic second-string quarterback who we have nothing but faith and belief in.
Yeah, and is that a good relationship they have going forward too? That when Garrett's gone, the mantle will be passed on, but effectively passed on.
Yeah. It seems like it. It seems like they're good buddies. Our quarterback coach does a fantastic job with those two, and I think Anton's learning every single day, and Garrett knew that coming in he had to be pretty good during camp, or else Anton was going to push him, and it's been a really good dynamic for our team. We're pretty lucky. We're very lucky.
Yeah. The Wheatland Football League schedule starts this coming Friday against your arch nemesis, shall we say.
That's right.
What is the feeling amongst players as it pertains to that game specifically?
I think we need to keep it in focus. It's obviously a huge game, and it's the regular season opener, and you want to have a good start. But I think it's a huge hump for us mentally to get over, and if we can go out and just have a good start and score first and have a good couple of drives, things will settle in and it'll just be football. But that's on us as a group of coaches and our leaders of our team to make sure that the first big play that goes for us and the first big play that goes against us don't get us too high and don't get us too low, and we keep playing and it just turns into a football game, because I think we're going to be just fine if it's just a football game. But if we overthink it, then we might have some issues. And
having a lot of returning guys, especially on the offensive end, that kind of helps with consistency. Does that help for a game like this, where there's so much external pressure, I guess?
Yeah, I think so. It's, some of those guys in grade 12, this isn't their first time around. It's their fifth, their sixth, their seventh game against those guys over there. So they're going to be confident. They play spring football with them all season long. They've known them growing up. So they're probably buddies with most of them. So there's a good relationship there, and I think that we now have that belief that this is sort of our best shot in the last few years to knock them off. And that being said, that's a great program, and they've been the best for a long time. So they're still the best until someone beats them. Given the fact that you're Tier 2 and Holy Rosary is a Tier 3, how much importance do you put on actually winning the Wheatland League title as opposed to just getting better and being prepared for a provincial run through Tier 2? It's definitely a little bit of both, for sure. The Wheatland title is a thing we take a lot of pride in, but we also want to compete at a provincial level. So we've rested some guys in the past during the regular season to make sure that they're healthy along the length of the season, and it's the Wheatland title is huge, but it's not everything. We want to compete at the provincial level, and it's probably 50-50. It's just as important. Interesting. Right there. Yeah. Absolutely. Some talk around the leagues have been that it's going to be a tougher year. Like the competition is going to be a little bit narrower versus such a wide gap between you guys and Holy and the rest of the field. Does that help you ultimately at the end of the season? Yeah, I think so. Holy Rosary will be very good this year. Bonnyville will be very good this year. So we're not gonna have the weeks off where we would maybe play our guys for a quarter, be up by 40 points, and then put everybody else in. It's going to be, I imagine, the majority of our games will come down to the fourth quarter. Will come down to a score or two. So it'll be good. I think you'll learn some good lessons that'll serve you well at the very end of the season, come playoffs and come provincials time. Week 2, you're ranked 7th in Tier 2 in provincials. How much stock does the team and the coaching staff put in those rankings? It's interesting to look at. I always feel that there's a little bit of a bias towards the rural cities. We can play teams and beat teams, and they'll still be ranked ahead of us. But the 7th is not where we plan to be at the end of the season. I'll just say that. We plan to be a little bit higher than that, for sure. I foresee that being the case, too. Yeah, I foresee that. There's some exceptional talent on that team. Yeah. Absolutely. Just speaking of that talent, like between Musgrave and then you also have the attack from Nathan Zacharias, Dan and Sladchuk, have you ever had a triple threat like that as a coach? Yeah, no, it's no, not since I've been here. Definitely not since I've been here. I mean, Garrett gives you everything with the running the ball, the throwing the ball. Danon's fantastic. Nathan, is he can play anywhere on the field, receiver, running back, fullback. We have another young kid, Matthew Moran, who is just absolutely lightning in a bottle. We feel that anytime he touches the ball, he can score. He can put 6 points up. So, there's just so many playmakers. It's funny. The coaching staff kind of talks about like the plays don't have to be perfect anymore. We can just kind of get the ball to our best players, and they're going to do the rest rather than us having to scheme up some things to make up for some of their shortfalls. Do you think that your running game is more potent than your passing attack is? Right now, I think. Yeah. Right now, I think so. We haven't really started to click. That being said, we haven't needed the passing attack. We've just taken what teams give us, and that's what we'll continue to do. We'll continue to, if teams want to give us a light box, and we'll just cram it down their throats. If teams want load up against us, and we'll throw the ball outside, and that's how we think the best way to move the ball is.
It's interesting too, because that's one of the benefits of having a guy like Garrett under center is it gives you 3 running backs
That's
essentially
right.
down there, right? So it's
Yeah.
what a threat that is.
Yeah.
So your provincial run will start after the Wheatland League. So when
That's
roughly
right.
do you get that underway?
Early November.
Okay.
It's so there's a quarterfinal, a semifinal, a final. Yeah.
How do you feel about your chances this year? I know you said you're hoping to kind of slide up those rankings.
Yeah, it'd be nice. I think we've taken some good steps as a program the last couple of years. You know, we've won a quarterfinal, we've competed in the semifinals, and I think now it'd be nice to take that next step. But at the end of the day, wherever we go is based completely on us. I don't think there's a team that if we reach our potential as a group, that's going to give us. You know, there's going to be some tough games, obviously, but we're the only thing holding us back. If we are the best Barons we can be, and we all reach our full potential, we're going to go pretty darn far, I think.
And imagine a few teams that play you will get a little discouraged when you light them up in the first quarter.
Yeah, well, maybe. I don't know.
What you mentioned though that you said we still have a lot of work to do. What work do you think you still have to do?
Yeah, it's funny. Like, we've played good teams and beaten good teams already, and we're still on a number of plays, still lining up wrong.
Interesting.
We're still missing basic fundamental things. We're still dropping the ball on offense. We've fumbled a couple times. So really, when we clean this stuff up and we start lining up right on every single play and tackling well, and we're going to be pretty good. But it's early. It's week 2 right now, and I think we've gotten a lot better the last 2 weeks. So if we continue, we're going to be, I guess, like I said, pretty darn good.
I don't know what you. Sorry, Josh. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, because you guys had a game recently canceled due to poor air quality, as you guys are starting to improve, is that a hindrance that you don't get to get those reps, or is it nice to give guys a little bit of rest going into a big game?
Yeah, no, I think it's. I think the guys are definitely excited to play. We got basically 45 minutes out of Calgary, and we're told to come back. But it is what it is, and you always have to sort of look at the bright side, and the bright side is that there were some guys that were dinged up. Garrett has a bad ankle and a couple other things, so those guys did get an extra week or an extra day to rest and ice and be ready for this week. And so, yeah, you just got to look at the bright side of things, and the positive of that was that we had a chance to rest. We spent 10 hours on a bus together, sort of bonding. So, yeah, it's okay.
Not the ideal spot to bond,
right.
though.
I would have rather played football, and I think they would have too, but there's some positives there too.
Listen, I can't wait for Friday. I don't know if you
either can't wait either,
but it's going to be an
Yeah.
exciting game. Yeah, I bet. But I know, like the Holy coaches are excited, and
Yeah,
you guys
for
are
sure.
excited.
Community is
so.
excited in general.
Yeah,
good.
I think so, and that's a
Yeah.
good thing for
Yeah,
football in the area.
it really is just 2 good football teams, a lot of talented kids that we've seen come up through the minor system, and it's going to be fun.
good.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks so much
Awesome.
for coming in. I'm really
Great.
glad to have
Thank
you.
you, sir.
Really
Thank
looking
you.
forward to Friday and
Awesome.
and all the best this coming season for sure.
Cool. Yeah, me too. Right on. Thanks, guys.
You're welcome. On the other side, it's I don't know, what are we doing?
We're doing something special.
Something fun.
It'll be a
Something
surprise.
fun. Something fun.
Surprise.
We're back. You can keep your gloves on, but ours are off.
How many times have we discussed about we don't want to go against the grain of the show that we're trying to do here, right?
A lot over the past couple of weeks.
Right, we
especially.
have, right? And I feel like a couple of weeks ago, I went against the grain of what's bugging you. It's a
True.
what's bugging you segment, and I went with what's not bugging me, which kind of spurred us to make a segment about what makes you happy. And Josh has the name of it. It's pretty killer.
Yeah, what made me smile this week? And I think ultimately...
Since it's your segment idea,
I
how about
can
it?
certainly. I think this is not against the grain of the show, by the way. I think it just means we're being happier.
No, this isn't against the grain of the show, but me going against what's bugging you was. So I'm saying now we're,
Right.
yeah.
So
That's
what
totally
made,
confusing.
What made me smile this week was being in the Lakeland Rustlers gymnasium for picture day. I have had a past, because as a past college athlete, I have a tough time going back to those kind of arenas sometimes because I just get the bug for playing again and I miss my playing days. But for the first time, it was nice to see all these young athletes, just see the excitement that they have for this season. It made me smile for 2 reasons. One, it took me back to those first days of being a college athlete, how much it meant to start the season, how much optimism there was. But the other side of it is simply this Lakeland Rustlers athletics program is very excited for this year. They're ramped up. A lot of teams have playoff aspirations, championship aspirations, and there's just a lot of good people there, and a lot of good kids too, which they've recruited. I'm just excited for the wrestler season in general, and that's what made me smile this week.
Who isn't excited about it? Other than other colleges.
Yeah, I guess.
That'd be the obvious.
Anyone who plays the women's volleyball team this year.
Yeah, for sure. And I think a lot of these teams are going to have great seasons. We're seeing the women's soccer team start off with a bit of a struggle, but overall, there's going to be some great teams, and there's some great stories that are going to come out of this year.
Stories.
And I'm excited about it. I know you're excited about it.
Yeah.
The school's ramped up. They did some work in the gym that's really thrilling to see. And Lakeland athletics are very progressive. Yeah. They're always trying to be better in whatever aspect of their program they're working on, and I respect that. I think they do a great job with that kind of stuff. Yeah. I'm excited. As a reporter,
they got recognized for that, obviously, with Al Rogan getting CCAA Athletic Director of the Year.
For sure. And I was just saying that I get excited, because of the job I have to do, which kind of segues perfectly into what's made me smile.
Perfect.
And that's my job, quite frankly. That's all there is to it. So many people wake up every day and they say, God, I don't want to go to work today. I can't believe I have to go in and do this job. And I'm not one of those people. I have the luxury of coming in to watch sports on a daily basis. I have the luxury of going out in the community to meet people who like playing or watching sports. I get to tell the stories of local athletes. I get to tell the stories of teams that are doing incredible things. And not everybody can say they get a chance to do that kind of thing. Not everyone gets a chance to meet the amount of people that I meet, and building relationships within this community has been paramount to not only my success, but just feeling like I'm a contributor to everything that's happening in this community. And really, I would be remiss if I didn't thank all the people that I have met over the course of my time here. I'm making it sound like I'm leaving, but I'm not actually leaving. I was
going to say, do you have something else coming up?
No, I'm not leaving. I really do enjoy it, though. It makes my job totally enjoyable, and every day I get a chance to wake up and say, I can't wait to get into work today and tell some more stories. And that's what makes me smile, not only this week, but truly every week that I'm here.
Yeah, and that's especially true of a time like this where you see so many different teams ramping up for the season.
Yeah.
You get ready. You're just excited to cover. I'm sure you're just excited to cover them coming.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like any job. There's days that are better than others, of course.
Yep.
But it's to do the stuff that I do and that we do is thrilling. I mean, this show is such an awesome thing that we get to do, and there's not a day goes by that I don't take it for granted. It is amazing.
Yeah. What is the storyline, just really quick, that you're most looking forward to now? Because you get to cover a lot of stuff in the next 3 months, especially.
Yeah, you know what, truthfully, it's this football situation. Holy Rosary and the Comp Barons are in two different tiers, and especially the Barons have a really good shot this year of getting to provincials and maybe even winning. And I'm really looking forward to covering these two teams and following their journey over the course of this season. They're still the best two teams in the Wheatland Football League, I believe. And I, again, just can't wait to see what they can do. And that, to me, is right now, that's the thing I am really looking forward to. Yeah. I just have an affinity for high school and college sports. I love it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward especially to that, but also to see the Lakeland Rustlers try to defend their title.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's going to be a fun time.
So many great things. Listen, thanks for tuning in. We appreciate the viewers of The Gloves Are Off. We'll see you in 7.